So here's my intro. Isn't that cool?
That's very cool.
So welcome everybody who's here, and especially my guest Kim, my friend Kim, who's here on the Orange Chair Dialogue. I don't know if you know Kim, and I'll remind people who might be here watching this live or later what the Orange Chair Dialogue means and how that was born. Back at the beginning of COVID, when we couldn't go anywhere or do anything, one of my friends who I hadn't seen for a long, long time, he said, "Look, we need to get together and I'd like to chat with you." And I said, "Yeah, but we can't go anywhere. There's no place, where would we go?" And he said, "Well, could we just go to your driveway?" And it was in March or April and it's cold, but I said, "Sure, we can go to my driveway." So I had these red camp chairs that I unfolded and we sat in my driveway and we had a great conversation. And we called it the Red Chair Dialogue. So I thought, this is something we're going to do. This is really cool. And then I had a couple people to my driveway the next week and the red chair broke. Like it was so brittle it broke. So when I decided to do this online, and because my color is more orange than red, I decided to call it the Orange Chair Dialogue. And that's what we do. We have dialogues about things that matter with people who matter to us. And that's what we're doing. So
welcome. I love it. Thank you. My pleasure to be here. So I was talking to you.
I know. And it's funny. COVID gave us each other, Kim. I think it was, well, I don't remember exactly when. Before that. Okay.
But COVID gave a lot of gifts to everyone.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And not the least of which is being able to just pop in and have a conversation and jump in. Jump into the depth of the conversation instead of pussyfooting around and going, "So how are you? How was your day?" And not that that's not important, but I love digging in, and that's what we get to do in the Orange Chair. So will you do me one tiny little favor? Can you put your camera down just a tiny little bit so you have a little less headroom? There we go. I feel really tall when you're shorter. I like that better.
Yes.
So let me introduce my friend Kim to you, everyone who's here. And remember, you can always ask any questions you want to. Just put them in the chat. And if you haven't already done it, I'm going to just request that you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and then type your name in there, because otherwise I have to look over at my other screen and go, "Who is this?" It says Facebook person. So it's kind of a funny little thing. It's good in a way, but I kind of like addressing people who they are. So I look over here at this screen if it doesn't come up. Anyway, Kim Fiske is a respected speaker, author, and thought leader who I know to be all of those things, and is sought after for her ability to convey to audiences provocative concepts and practical ways to identify and navigate what she has coined the monster under the bed, which is the name of her book, which is fabulous. And we can talk about that as we go. Kim is an NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. She's a life coach. She is a member of the Association of Network Marketing Professionals. I could go on and on about your resume, which is very, very impressive. Probably most important to you is you have a super great husband and 4 kids and 5 grandkids, and they live in Nevada and Oregon. So Kim and I have never met in person. I used to say real life, but this is real life. So just because we haven't met in person doesn't mean we haven't met in real life.
I feel like I totally know you.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to Kim for lots of reasons. She's been a guest on my podcast, Circle Up and Get Real, in the past. But this past Wednesday, Kim was in Washington, D.C. when some will say one of the most significant events of our 244-year history happened. And I wanted to hear from you, Kim, a couple of things: why you were there in the first place, what you observed, what you witnessed, just a lot of things about that event. And then I want to get beyond the event and talk more about us and consciousness and spirituality and all the things that you and I talk about normally. So can you just tell us what it was that had you go from Oregon to DC on that day?
Well, actually, the idea that my husband and I both thought about a few weeks before, when we first heard that there was going to be just some sort of a rally, a march for the million of people that were there were probably that many different reasons of why each person went, their own little variation. And we talked about going just to show yeah, we're standing for freedom. We want to make sure there's honesty. We want to make sure that people that are having to stand up against maybe some pressure to not be honest or not do the right thing, whatever that meant, which, we could spend better minds than ours have been trying to decide, which that is. But we talked about it a few weeks before, and then we kind of got distracted and never came back to that. And Sunday, this is a true story. Sunday afternoon, my husband comes in out of the blue. We hadn't even been talking about stuff. And he goes, "So are you going to that thing in DC on Wednesday?" And I'm like,
on Sunday.
I go, did we decide we were doing it? He goes, "Well, I can't go. I just didn't know if you were going to go." And I go, "Well, I don't know. Maybe I will." I was just really like that. And I go, "Well, let me look at flights." And if I had left Tuesday, it would have been like 5 times the price to fly. And so I live in our Oregon house. I live in a very small commuter town. So you have to get to the big city to get on the big plane, right?
Yeah.
So seriously, I looked at the flights for Monday, which was the next day to Baltimore out of Seattle. And I'm like, "Joe, I got to go tonight if I'm going to go spend the night in Seattle to catch that flight tomorrow."
Oh my gosh.
That's how fast it was. And I was like, "Well, okay." But I didn't want to go by myself. So I put a couple texts out to couple of friends that had some flexibility, I thought, blah, blah, blah. One jumped on it. And she goes, "Yeah, I want to go, but I didn't want to go by myself." So anyway, I had a friend and we got there Monday night. And it was really surreal on Monday night, actually, because the streets of DC, we stayed in a hotel downtown and the streets were empty, like ghost town empty. And I'm like, this is really weird. And we ate there. They had an indoor restriction to not eat indoors. So they had some restaurants had outdoor tents, kind of like how things are, people are doing. And so we found one of those and we got to chatting with the waiter and it was very just surreal. We walked to the White House. We walked down to where the rally was going to be at the lawn area. And my friend had never been to DC. So it was, so many things were closed. The Smithsonian for COVID reasons, I think, Smithsonian, the Holocaust, all these, my favorite places. And, but anyway, so that was Monday night. Tuesday, we got up and went out to Arlington. In fact, on Tuesday, I did a live about I love cemeteries for reasons that are probably strange, because I love the history and the stories of these people that, old cemeteries I love. But this one didn't give me that feeling. This one gives me the feeling of this is needless. And this is the result of what I call the monster under the bed. These graves and these wars that represent these needless deaths. And I did a live about that. And that was Tuesday. What else did we do? There wasn't that much more we could do because there wasn't things open. So and then Wednesday. So let me answer the question now about why I even did jump through those hoops.
Yep.
I personally am not a huge Donald Trump personally fan. Like I'm not I see how the world pretty much can perceive him. I perceive him similarly. He wouldn't be someone that I would, be friends with, wouldn't be, we don't resonate at the same frequency. Let's put it that way.
Yep. Yep.
And at the sake of not getting into the muck and the mire, even in this conversation, I just wanted to go, like I said, I wanted to go just represent, if there was something kind of shady that went on in the electoral process, the voting process, which I stayed up all night that night watching, I had my suspicions. So I was kind of fertile soil for that kind of. And I'm not a huge government fan to begin with either. I'm more a libertarian. Okay. I'm more like live and let live and keep your paws off and let's be free. So I'm probably even more that way. Yeah. And so I'm not a big government. I think there's so much corruption in our government. Why? Because in fact, the waiter that we had that night at dinner, he born and raised there. He's probably early 40s, and we had a lot of time to chat because he didn't really have any other people. Wow. And I'm picking his brain like I always do. And he goes, really, we were talking about maybe voter fraud or whatever. He, he had to be careful because of his job. But he said, what's true about here? This bubble that you're in right here is pretty much untouchable. Anything can happen here. And it will be untouchable. They are an untouchable group of people. And I know I have them at lunch. That he's right in the middle of the whole downtown area. So he goes, all these buildings that have initials, EPA, FDA, IRS, all these initial buildings. He goes, I have Secret Service friends. He goes, I'm in the throes of this community. And he goes, it's very protected. And if you don't know how to play the game, you will be destroyed. Those were his exact words. So that is kind of representative of my suspicion about things anyway in the government. The fact that, and again, I'm not going to get into the muck, but the whole stimulus COVID money that some people are getting, both sides of the aisle of my friends said, what the heck? Why are we giving 15 million or whatever to Pakistan for gender studies? Blah, 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 right? And they wrote themselves a $25,000 raise in the stimulus plan. So,
by the way, here's my check.
You just got yours. Woo!
Woo-hoo!
Yay!
Haven't cashed it yet, but here's
it's monopoly money. Good job. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, that's another subject. We could go off on that.
Yes.
But my point is I'm suspicious, and I wanted to just represent. I didn't go as a specific Donald Trump fan, but I felt like there needed to be some physical presence to show that no, we need a little bit more proof about what happened here, and for you guys to look deeper into, because this other side of the aisle, see, it's hard because we live in parallel universes. Honestly, we do. The news we listen to, the receptive soil that we already are predisposed to one side or the other. I am totally shocked about my friends on the other side, which I don't even know what side I'm really on, but some of the information I hear that says, no, it's this. And I'm like, really? Because this, like, both sides are so right.
Yeah. And
so sure of their rightness. And they're just polar. Like, seriously, we're on different planets. That, like, you felt that. And so I just, because of my heart and because of my philosophies of not getting stuck in the muck and the mire of who's right and who's wrong about anything in life. See, these things were happening way before this political environment. In fact, my opinion is we created this political environment. It's not causing anything. It's the effect of our energy and it's our disease.
Yeah.
Prior that even made these two people are our choices in this country. What?
Yep.
And I said that even before. It's like we're just reaping what our energy has sown, and we are the same issues that are happening politically in our country happen in our homes and our relationships and our jobs. It had nothing to do with politics. As now, it's become a very polarizing, clarifying, deciding line in the sand in the world right now. But before, I have 4 sons. I have daughter-in-laws. I knew all my life after I saw that I only had boys, I kept telling myself, okay, Kim, you got to be a good mother-in-law. You got to make sure you're a good. Why? Because I see too many dysfunctional or problems, conflicts with mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws. And so the conflicts are already there, have been already there. And so this is just an in our face culmination, cataclysmic disruption of our current programming that was just kind of miserable, but floating along we were okay. We were barely okay. We just didn't know we weren't okay,
right?
Because we were hiding it. Yeah. And we had enough distractions to not really have us face the demons that were already, or the monster that was already in our world.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm coming up for air because I went off on another.
No, that was a great tangent. It wasn't even a tangent. I think you and I share that perspective for sure. I think about COVID. I think about what people in 2020, March of 2020, when people thought it was surprising that the whole world shut down, but there was something way bigger. If you look at a spiritual dimension of what happened with that, when people kept saying, I want to get back to normal, there's no normal. We aren't getting back to normal. There's something that needed to happen. Our world slowed down, and COVID happened to be what slowed it down worldwide. I mean, we could see the canals in Venice. We could see, the stars, and right. There were so many things that the vibration of the earth was slower. Scientifically, that was an amazing healing of the earth, of the planet. Yeah. And go back before that, that was March of 2020. I mean, it happened depending on where you lived. It was earlier or later. But what you're saying is, before any of our elections, before any of our external results of our thinking and our being, before any of that, there was something going on. We were masking it.
To be honest, my book came out in 2018, but I had been dabbling and talking to some book coaches here and joining a book program there, trying to culminate and get my thoughts together. In fact, The Monster Under the Bed was just going to be a chapter in the original book I was going to write. And so when 2016 election conflicts and energy, I felt that energy so strong. I kind of had what I call my psycho time. I felt it so strongly, and I didn't know what it meant. See, interpreting the energy is really, really important, because people empathic are going to feel, right? And what you're going to do is your brain will actually grab onto the first story that settles down your cognitive dissonance. So you can know, you can have a reason. Oh, okay, that's why. But then guess what? Both sides have their reason, and then they're locked in their positions. Yeah. But their brain needed to have that reason. So they're hanging on to their reason so tightly that, this is where we are right now. But 2016 really was a huge pivotal point for me. And I go, no, I got to get my book done. And that's why it took me writing a book is like, it's more like unwriting it and editing it and rewriting it. And it's terrible. It was very, very refining for me. But my point is that after that election, things didn't get better, obviously. And then coming up to this with everything happening, and our brains were still either perpetuating or continuing on with the story that we started with.
Right.
Or I don't know, but
looking for evidence to prove that the way we've been seeing the world was the right way.
Yeah.
And so for you, I know you, at least when we talked about this, you believed that there was some question about the validity of the election, and you wanted to be there to stand for that possibility. Is that fair enough?
Yeah. I just wanted to say, you know what, and to me, that is really, I mean, when you actually now go to that event, my personal experience with that event, that is what the majority of people, like, it was it's hard to tell people that see it through different, even when I'm watching I don't watch the news, but I'll tell you the whole story. So we went to the actual rally itself at the lawn of the Washington Monument, this park by the White House, kind of. It's that big lawn area. Mm-hmm. That's where it was. But by the time we got there, it was about 9:30. It was packed, and even if you tried to go find the outhouses, you're bumper to bumper people, and it was freezing cold. Mm-hmm. It was really windy. It was not, and you couldn't hear anything. So at around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, people started to speak, I think. But you could hear little glimpses here and there, some cheering here and there. So we kind of just had your own little, your own little community in the back area. A friend that I just met that was there from New Jersey didn't even know we were going to meet each other. We ran into each other. Oh, that was cool. So there, and her and her daughter and her dog. Her dog was a lab, or a golden retriever that was so cathartic for people all day long. People wanted to take a picture with the dog, pet the dog. The dog was just this healing presence that was so wonderful. So the four of us, my friend and I and my friend and her daughter, we hung out, but then we're all visitors, right? So we're talking to people around us, and we're hearing stories, and we're just having our own thing, even while talking was going on from the stage, because we couldn't hear it.
Right. Okay.
And then it hit me. I'm like, you know what? And at this point, President Trump was speaking, and but he was an hour late speaking. He didn't start speaking till like 10 minutes after noon, and he was supposed to start speaking at 11, I thought.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So I went, you know what? Are we all gonna end up going to the Capitol from here? Because I knew also the timeline of this Senate, the elector thing. I knew that was gonna start around 12-ish or 1-ish. I knew the time frame.
Okay.
So I go, are we going to end up going to the Capitol? And people around me go, yeah. And I go, well, you know what? Let's just go walk now because we get better seats there. And I had listened to a woman on a video the day before I left who said, find me on the Capitol steps, 3:00 on the 6th. And I'm going to be speaking. I'm like, oh, well, I guess there's going to be speakers at the Capitol. So I wanted to get into that early group of people that could hear.
Right. Okay.
So there was probably 1,000 or so people that kind of had that same idea. You could tell because people were leaving the rally and going to the Capitol, and just
so,
it was, yeah.
Was it peaceful? Was it just there was nothing? Okay. And a weird question, but did people have masks on?
Some.
So it wasn't really a.
It was not. No, some. Yeah, some. It wasn't. I didn't pay attention to count percentage wise who did it.
Right.
But I know I saw some. But I'll tell you what, I had mine on for reasons not only because it made my face warmer. It was cold.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I'm going to wear my mask because it was cold. But so we start. No, it was completely. The rally was peaceful. Now I couldn't hear what President Trump said. So when I got home, I did go back and listen because I was hearing what the press was saying he was saying. And I'm like, anyway, but I wanted to know because I don't have an axe to grind. I just was there to like show my support for what I thought may have been shenanigans.
Okay.
And if there's no shenanigans, then there's no shenanigans. But let's be open to the idea that there may have been shenanigans, and let's put a little truth pressure with my body being there, not just my voice. Put up or shut up is what I said to myself. Put up or shut up. And I could put up. So I went just to say, you know what, let's be honest here. If there's some dishonesty going on. So that's so there was probably 1,000 people walking by in fact, I walked by the guy in the horns that made it into the picture of the Capitol. We kind of looked at him and laughed, and he was just, he wasn't doing anything in the streets. He was just walking. And so we all, like whoever, and when we got to the Capitol, there were already a lot of people there. So they had already left the rally or never went to the rally. And there were already many rows of people at the barricades. In fact, I celebrated a 4th of July there once with some family, and we watched the fireworks. And when we walked up to the Capitol, I went, first of all, I didn't see any microphones and I didn't see any speakers. And I was worried that, man, are we going to not be able to hear again? That was because I'm a theater director and I'm into all that stuff. Yeah. And so I went, okay, let's go around to the back side because maybe that's where their sound system is set up.
Yep.
I didn't know which side they were going to be talking from.
Right.
So we went all the way around, and same thing, lots of people in front of the barricades, back. And we found a little place because we had the dogs. So we were over by a little piece of lawn, and it was fine and no problems. There was preachers going by talking about repent and Jesus will save you. And, like posters up about stuff, and everybody. In fact, at one point I hear a bunch of people clapping down over to the left, and we were to the right more. And so over to the left was where, down in the left area, well, all around the front were the barricades, but the clapping was down there. So I went, hang on, I'm going to go find out. So I went down close to the barricade itself, to the front row of people where I could get down into, and I tapped a guy on the back. I don't know if you saw this video that I did. He looked like a businessman in a black trench coat kind of thing. And I tapped him and I said, hey, what happened? Why are people clapping? And he goes, because the electorals got objected to, like what people were coming there for happened. I don't know. Later, I found out, I heard conflicting stories of Vice President Pence, what he did or didn't do. But either way, at that point, and I didn't know anything about this in the Constitution. That's why this man in the trench coat, he starts telling me, and I go, do you mind if I record you? Because I don't remember what you said, and it's really important. So many people don't understand. And I said, do you know what's going to happen? He goes, yeah, I'm actually running for U.S. Congress in Arizona, right? I'm a potential, you know, I threw my hat in the ring after he saw what happened in Arizona.
Wow.
So he goes, yes, I'm running. So I've got my video going, and I asked him these questions. So they had just divided to go House and Senate to have a 2-hour debate. This is what's in the Constitution. 2 hours is in the Constitution. And he goes, for every state that's contested, if they uphold the objection, every state that's contested will go have a 2-hour debate. And at that point, that's when they go show evidence. People came with evidence of voter fraud or not voter fraud, whatever. They can have their discussion. And at 2 hours, they come back. And if they did not agree, then at that point, that's when the decision then goes back to the states. All states have one vote, and they vote party line. I didn't know any of this.
Oh, right.
And if that was the case, then Trump would have still been in the White House, because they party line. Republicans, I guess, have 31 states, and Democrats have 19, and Nebraska and Maine have a joint. Blah, 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 blah. So I found out some stuff. That was really educational. And that had just happened at, let's say it was about 1:10. Now, I also saw some people still listening to Trump at the rally. He hadn't even finished yet.
Oh.
So the majority of people were still at the rally because they could hear him. So there was a lot of people at the Capitol. But anyway, I'm learning and just waiting to see who's going to speak. I still didn't see a microphone or a sound system on those steps. And I'm like, this is weird, because they should have already had this set up. Anyway, so a couple more little things kind of happened. And there was a preacher that was preaching really loud nearby. In fact, you can kind of hear him on the video I did with the guy. That was a little bit annoying. Not that what he was saying was bad, but it was just like he overtook the whole area. But it was all about repent, and Jesus is this, and God is that. And it was like, okay. But everybody was peaceful. There was nobody in my vicinity, even from afar, that had any, in fact, at one other point, I went over to my right because I felt like there was a little bit of a, and they go, oh, we're looking over there. There's a little skirmish happening over by the barricade over to the left.
Okay.
And I don't know at this point specifically if someone was trying to get through the barricade, because these people all around me started chanting, hey, no, they're not MAGA. They're not MAGA. They're not MAGA. They were freaking out because they thought this person was going to start causing trouble way over there. It was kind of in a circular thing, so you could look over there and see at the barricade. And they like start cheering, they're not MAGA. Don't do it. They're not MAGA. And then it calmed down, and I couldn't see what they were seeing, but I was seeing them see something. So I went back to my little place in the lawn, and then I saw over to the left, when people could go, they were starting to go up. They got out of into the barricade, right? The interesting thing, though, at the time, I'm telling you, in the moment, what happened for us.
Right.
What happened for us was we saw the stream of people, not forcibly going in, absolutely being let in. In fact, I couldn't see the barricade being opened, because by the time I saw people going through it, but there were a row of police and SWAT people right there. And on another video I saw the police going even like this on their video. So, and then at my hotel later, a woman said she was in that group so we didn't go up. I mean, here's what happened with us. We started seeing them. We walked kind of like we were going to maybe be, I just wanted to see more what was happening. And I saw them going up onto the steps of the Capitol. And it was funny because all four of us just kind of looked at each other and went, this might not end well. This might not be a good idea. So, and we were freezing, had to pee, blah, blah, blah. So we started walking away from the Capitol. And by the time, like probably 10 minutes later, 15 maybe at the most, we'd walked into a hotel nearby to just pee and get warm. And by that point, CNN had the TV in the lobby was showing people just walking in peacefully, strolling in. They said on their screen, protesters storm. And I kind of chuckled at the time. Oh yeah, look at all them storming. They were not storming the image we saw at that hotel. from, I don't even know if that was our side or the other side. I didn't know what was happening on the other side.
Did you think when you went that the people were going to be able to go into the Capitol, or did you think they were going up to the steps? I mean, how did you?
No, we just thought there's no way they're going in. Like, I just thought they got let up. And that's the woman we talked to at our hotel. Back at our hotel, there was probably hundreds of rally people. The hotel was all rally people, and all the different stories. It was very cathartic that night, honestly, because the hotel had set up kind of like a buffet that they served you food because the restaurants were all closed. So there was probably, at the point I was in line, there was probably 200 or 300 people down in this, like they had a convention center or like a meeting place in the hotel. And that's where all these people were. And just story after story after story. And this one woman, that's what I was going to tell you, she said, we just look over and everyone's walking up to this, going. So we're just thinking, oh, they're letting us in. Now think about it from their point of view. She goes, oh, they're letting us in, meaning past the barricade, right?
Yeah.
She didn't know at that point if it meant in the Capitol. She didn't know. She was just following the peaceful feeling that was happening, because if the police didn't want this to happen, why are they not stopping?
Right.
And she didn't know what the first people were told or how it even happened. So she goes, I just started, I'm like, yes. They go, yes. This is a woman. Our group, all of us were going, yes. They're listening to us. Our prayers are answered. They go up and start singing God Bless America on the steps. And they're like, oh, we were so happy. This is a good sign. This is the different polarization of planets we're on. And she goes, all of a sudden, then there was some energy shift and the police got aggressive. The police start pushing people back, and no one was even going in. She goes, it wasn't at this point people were going in. She goes, but they got aggressive and they started pushing people back, like no. And then tear gas started coming out. And she goes, it was like that. Like it didn't make any sense, because they could have stopped us before we even went in, and all of a sudden something changed. So that was her story. I just know that it was peaceful. It was happy. It was if there was any sign of shenanigans, the MAGA people were calling it out. But not to say that there weren't overzealous. I don't know. It would be totally greater minds than mine are talking about this, and I don't know. It would not surprise me if there were Trump supporters that were like in the mob kind of feeling, like, hey, we're getting in because they're letting us in. Now's our chance. Let's go. Like, and maybe some of them had really, got overwhelmed, got overpowered. Maybe there were agitators there that were, I don't know, the word Antifa doesn't really have much, I don't know. I know there were probably agitators. You could tell from the difference of those people in the videos than what I could tell and feel in the hundreds of thousands of people that were out on the lawn. So that was my story.
So the guy that you ran into with the horns, did you get any sense that he was going to cause trouble when you just sort of passed by him?
No, and we passed him on the street. He was standing on the street, kind of like he was going to do a little act or something. We just kind of looked at him and went, okay. It was freezing cold and he was barely dressed. And that was, and I'm like, okay, I thought he was representing maybe Native Americans or something, like the horns of the buffalo. I didn't know. We just passed. I just remember seeing his picture later going, oh, that's the guy we passed on the street. Yeah. No, I have nothing. He wasn't saying anything that I remember when we walked by. He wasn't up at the front yet. So, but the other side, we had friends on the other side that did say there were people scaling scaling up. There were people though that had videos that showed, again, people trying to break a window, and MAGA people were pulling him off. They were shouting, he's Antifa, they're Antifa, they're Antifa. And MAGA people pulled him off the window, pounding. So all of the police stuff, even the woman that got killed, shot, that video is very disturbing to me, because if you look at the angle of the video I saw, there were at least 3 policemen all around her, behind her, that came to her aid when she fell. And I'm like, well, why did a policeman shoot really without even seeing what he was doing? He shot around that corner, and yet police were right there. Why didn't those police stop? It just was confusing to me when I see all the different reports now. So suffice that to say, where I have to go, I don't have to. Where I choose to go with these various accounts and opinions and interpretations is, I think, to stay at the ground level and argue about what really happened and who did what and their intentions and all that, because we all have so much evidence that show we are right about it. And that is where, if my message is anything, it's this has been given to us as a gift to force us, when we're ready, as we're willing, if we're open, to move to the higher level of, okay, whatever happened, me fighting you about what happened. I said in the live I did that day, the next day before I left to go home, I talked about the story of Jesus. Whether you believe in a Jesus or not, the story is powerful as a parable. But when the soldiers came to take him in the garden, when he was in Gethsemane, and Judas was there having betrayed him, and Peter was so angry, like so angry, and he took the sword and he cut off the soldier's ear that was arresting Jesus. And Jesus said, well, first of all, the story says he put the ear back on. But I think there's something symbolic about the ear as well, because when we fight, people can't hear. And so, and Jesus's point was, which, if we have ears to hear this message, which is the biggest message needed in the world and the one most resisted by our fear, survival, ego brain, does not want to hear this message. We want to stay in the trenches of being right about what we believe. But, Jesus's answer to this situation was, it's okay. Like it didn't ruffle him, because he said, I am about my Father's business. Like, I'm here on a mission with a purpose. And this is not a battle of flesh and blood. This isn't a battle at the ego, fear-based, physical, human level. This really, now we're going to segue maybe into our spiritual discussion.
That's good. That's where I want to go, because that's
our only hope.
Right.
It really is.
So the base awareness, when we try to see from an ego point of view, which is, I need to be right, and the only way I can be right is to make somebody else wrong, that keeps us separate. That definitely keeps us separate. That's what it's all about. It's to keep us separate. Mm-hmm. And you're talking now about a higher awareness, a higher purpose. I'm not going to say reason, because reason to me gets in my head and makes me try to figure it out. But a higher purpose
I love your line about that.
Yeah.
So
that is a release, is an allowing. It's not a forcing. It's an allowing of some higher awareness. It's like when Jesus, I love your story about Jesus, because, I'm about my Father's business. And if I have ears to hear, that's a really great metaphor for what we're talking about right now. And I think if you and I come from different points of view, we may not. I mean, I don't have the same conviction, that's probably not the right word, that there was any voter fraud that you do. I think I trust more, or,
right.
And so it doesn't matter. None of that matters to me. It's just a detail. And I think what you and I both believe, because I know you well enough to be able to say this, is exactly what you said. There's a place at which we have way more in common than we don't. And that's a higher ground. That's that higher ground.
And I have to say to your people that are watching this, or to anyone that's watching this, you are such a prime example of, first of all, you saw on my Facebook that day, you didn't know I was going until probably you saw me do a live. And I was just like, oh, look what's happening. I was just like, showing my Facebook is for my memories too. So I wanted to kind of document it that I was there that day. I didn't realize what that day was going to end up being. So it was just going to be a cool, like, oh, it's a cool rally I went to. I'd never been to one before of any president. Anyway, but I loved I don't know. Be honest with me though, Jody, really, really, really be very, very honest. Did it trigger you at all at first to see that I was there?
I don't think trigger would be no, it
Okay.
didn't. Because I know, I feel that I know you.
I
And I
know.
feel that
You're so
even,
already, you're so already, see, you're not a true, because, right, we don't, you already are self-actualized to not have that kind of trigger. But a lot of people, you guys, and you're, whichever side of the coin
yeah,
you're on,
yeah.
these triggers are happening everywhere you turn around.
Mhm.
But what I loved about what you did that day, when you saw that I was there, you texted me and you said, "Oh, you're in DC?" And I go, "Yeah." I could go back and read the text. It was,
I have it right here. Hmm.
you're like, and you, and I don't remember exactly, but you were asking me why are you there?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Where
I,
are you right now? I'm watching on CNN. Be safe, I said to you. And you said, watch Newsmax,
well,
CNN
you said, yeah,
Insight.
but that was after the incident at the Capitol.
Yeah.
If you go back a little bit, you'll see
Not on
that
text. It might have been on,
a message
yeah,
on Messenger.
Messenger. I bet it was
Okay,
Messenger.
because you said, "Oh, well, was there voter fraud?" Because that was a
Mhm,
new thought to you.
mhm,
And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm here to just make sure there wasn't, like that kind of thing. But you never got snagged by any of my answers. And when you did see CNN and when you did see this stuff that was happening, I thought it was ridiculous anyway, because at the time I saw CNN's first report, first of all, their camera was, anyway,
mhm.
the first report said protesters storming, and yet the picture they showed were like, you know, Henry and Ethel from the
Yeah, yeah.
farm going down.
Yeah.
Look, Ethel, we made it in the
Right,
Capitol. Like,
right,
it
right.
wasn't storming, but then it got worse. Of course, it got
Yeah.
worse. And you were texting me, "Are you okay? Are you
I
safe?
was.
Are you?"
I said, well, what I really said, everybody, just FYI, was you said, watch Newsmax, CNN Insights. And I said, okay, I will. And I did. And you said, I'm fine away from the Capitol. This was at 2:04 p.m. And then I said, okay. And then I wrote, shots were fired at the Capitol. What the actual F is what I wrote to you. And then I said, I am watching Newsmax. This is serious shit, Kim. What the hell? 5,000 question marks. And then I said, are you still safe? And this is like 7 minutes in here, right? And I don't hear from you. And
It's
so
bad
I'm
cell service all through there too, by the way. The
okay,
cell
I
service is
suppose.
horrible.
I'm freaking
Yeah.
out a little bit. So I'm sending you pictures. I'm sending you screenshots from Newsmax that says shots fired. And I said, tell me you are safe. And that was 15 minutes later. And then I send you another screenshot that says one person shot in neck, one in chest. And then you come back at 2:51. So I first said to you, shots were fired at 2:04. So think about that. For me, on my end, from 2:04 to
Yeah, you don't know.
2:50. No, I had no idea. And then you came back and said, sorry, yes, completely safe. And I wrote, whew. And you said, thanks for checking, sad for the outcome. And I said, I'm so confused. What is happening? And then you gave me your take on it, the Boston Tea Party idea. People are tired of feeling shut up and labeled. There's so much on the street, proof of voter fraud. Most people will never see it, mainly because they don't want to believe it. The courts never even looked at the proof because of technicalities. The philosophies of the left are so against the philosophies of the right. I'm not sure what the answer is. We may end up fighting it out in not pretty ways. And that's what's happened. That's what's still happening. I'm not sure what we're gonna come to here.
But what I do know is me trying to, like, you asked me my opinion about
I
it.
did.
I gave it to you.
I did.
I don't have to be right about it.
Mhm.
It's just probably my predisposed upbringing for conservative values or conservative thought, right? I talk about that in my book, that I thought my Uncle Sonny hated Ronald Reagan. And I'm like, how can my Uncle Sonny hate Ronald Reagan? I didn't
Can anybody hate Ronald Reagan?
We're like going to go to hell or something. That was my
Right.
Christian upbringing. And
Right.
no one ever said that, but that was the water I grew up in. And
Mm.
so I've had friends over the years, you're maybe one, I don't know exactly. We haven't had a lot of political conversations because we know that's not really who we are, just because that's not who we are.
Right.
Who we are is created from and a piece of God, pure love. That's who we are. And what the call of the soul is, I honestly believe COVID was a call to the soul. All the he said, she said, philosophies, theories, science about masks, about staying in place, about shutting businesses, about all of that has built, and then this thing, and just the whole Trump, Biden, all the it's like if you look at it from a 10,000 foot view and not at the ground level, you can see it clearly.
Right.
What is happening, and not what specifically is happening, but the purpose of it all.
Right.
The purpose of it all. We are actually ushering in, I honestly believe, this is what needs to happen to clean up, to clean house, and to get people listening. See, if there's not pain, people don't listen. Pain and discomfort. Actually, if you think back in your life, when do you get on your knees? That's why they say there's no atheists in the foxhole. It's because when you get tired of the shit you're in and you're come to the end of yourself, you've done all you can do, and you have, but this happened before 2020, but it just was at such a lower hum of dissonance that it just made us constantly irritated, constantly at stress, constantly having to take medication, and constantly, it was just, now it's,
So I want to have Dawn jump in here. So Dawn is saying the media has forced a trigger society reactionary, perhaps similar Fox coverage of the peaceful protests last summer.
Yes, exactly.
And so, yeah. And then she also says, have 60 cases truly been irrelevant? How can there not be truth? Are we not able to trust the courts, half conservative and half liberal judges? Who can we trust?
Yeah, those are all good ground level questions. I don't know. But I do, someone did bring up to me about the riots. Well, the peaceful protesters that were mixed with rioters that still, I'm in Oregon right now, Portland's on fire. Like,
wow.
Yeah. And most mainstream media doesn't show what this is the undercurrent of distrust, because we only know what we're told. Honestly, that's why another reason I wanted to go, because I didn't know that was going to happen at all. But I wanted to see for myself. I like to know things firsthand. And unless you actually know something firsthand, you don't really know anything, because you only know what you're told. And so, and from, I know how our brain works, and I call them mental bloodhounds in my book. Once you decide something is true, that's really only the evidence your brain will allow in, your reticular activating system. And then you will discard anything that doesn't fit. Confirmation bias, it's the same thing, right? So all of that plays in. That's why 10 people watching the exact same thing, a car accident. That's why my son's a defense attorney in Oregon, and he's like, Mom, I don't believe anybody's testimony. It's not that they're lying necessarily. It's they will have a completely different perception than somebody else that saw the exact same thing.
So weird. So Dawn's saying, I don't need to be right. I simply want truth, which seems extremely elusive. And she said elusive.
Yeah, so the only truth there is, this is because you can go, there are really, really, really good people on both sides of these questions that don't have the truth. They have different truths. So is there a truth? Yes. I just don't know, like, what really happened when those courts really looked. Did they really look, or were they thrown out? How were they looked at? All of those questions, I don't know. And I don't even know who to believe about it, because, as you said, the press is there they're there to make money. They're there to make sure you keep watching, and they're triggering your fear survival brain all the time. In fact, this is a little aside. I want to get back to Dawn's question though in a minute. But after I wrote my book, I went to a media summit in New York, and one of the book things I joined said, "Come do this," and I paid a lot of money to be there. And it was a 3-day event where you just go around and pitch your pitch about whatever your book is or whatever your thing is to the media. I mean, every major news was there. The View, newspapers were there, magazines were there all over the world. Podcasts were there. Like, it was a big, big deal. And I found out very quickly in how they train you to do your pitch. And what I remember going up to the View people. Now, these aren't the actors. These are the producers, right? So I went up to them and I said, I have a lot of energy around, and this was in 2018. I said, I have a lot of energy around. I want to get a message out to the people. My book is about how we're seeing right now in the world play out, the monster under the bed. Like, this is predictable because of how our brain is wired. This is actually predictable. This isn't a moral deficit or a character flaw. This isn't bad people. This is actually neurologically predictable. And I would love to, and this was what I exactly said, I would love to come up and talk about why there's such hatred for Donald Trump, and maybe offer another viewpoint. The View.
Right.
As soon as they heard me say that, they go, we're not interested. Goodbye. They're not interested. And I was taught my pitch has to be a grabber, something, the hook, they call it, the hook. Well, you look at headlines right now and the hooks are everywhere. Because why? That's how they make money. Every click you click on, that headline gets the money for them. So I don't know how, that's what got me to the end of myself in trying to, because I do want to know the truth. And it wouldn't surprise me if Trump is a crook or there's been several things that I have found, as much as I don't like the man and can't listen to him talk, there have been some really good things that have happened that I align with that he has done. So I kind of go, okay, of the choices I have from my personal values, that's why I leaned a little further to the right. But at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to find the truth. So that's why you have to go to the hierarchy of truth. The hierarchy of truth is whatever that truth is, it's okay. Like what Jody does with me. Why do you think there is, Camera? Tell me about that. Tell me about that. Tell me about that. Oh, interesting. Okay, I hear you. I don't know if she agrees with me or not. Disagree does not enter into the conversation. She says, tell me about that. I love Jody's example for all y'all because she's an example to me, and I try to stay in that place. I sometimes get sucked back into the muck and the mire conversation. And then I go, oh, wait.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're human. The whole idea about being human is that this is a human experience, and we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that human experience is influenced by our upbringing, by a lot of things that are different. I mean, we could talk about religion, we could talk about, and we do, you and I do, we come from, similar backgrounds, and there's just a lot to talk about. And the underlying current, and Dawn, I'm going to get to your questions, Dawn, because Dawn and I have, I'll get to this. Dawn and Bruce are both pretty left-leaning, and they're good friends of mine, and Bruce and Dawn are both talking right here. And I love them, and I love you, and I don't have a dog in the fight. So it's less about, it's less about winning or being right. So Dawn says, what does exhaustion of the hook lead to as a society?
Well, we used to. I don't know how old Dawn is, but
she's a little younger than you.
Okay. We used to have like Walter Cronkite's. We used to have actual news and not entertainment, not commentary. Like, you never really knew how Walter Cronkite felt personally about any of it. It was the facts, ma'am, just the facts. Here is what happened. And those were news days, lots of news people and newspapers. They might have had an op-ed where the opinion of somebody, but then they were very clear to say the opinion of this person doesn't represent, right? Right. That used to be the news. Now, news is not that. And we all know that. You sense that at the deep level anyway. And so then once, I call it the dance of the monsters, like with Trump and the media, it was the dance of the monsters, because as much as he called them out on what he perceived as fake news, they jumped on and then attacked him more, and he attacked them more, and they attacked him, and it turned just incredibly toxic for our entire society. And
so Bruce has a question that kind of goes along with that. He says, it's predictable for sure. My question, since it's so predictable, is, has it been planned? He says, or orchestrated, since human behavior is so predictable.
And what specifically, Bruce, are you referring to?
Are you talking about, Bruce, do you want to just go a little deeper on that? Is it the orchestration of the dance between the media and the politicians, or give us a specific? And by the way, Bruce, if you want to come in, we can have you come in. We can give you the link. It's kind of fun to have people come in too, Kim, so we can do that.
Oh, absolutely.
But Bruce lives in Mexico, and just across the border, right across the border from Tijuana.
Rosarito Beach.
Yeah, he's a beach guy. San Diego.
Okay. Okay.
To lead us to our deep division.
Well, that's another kind of esoteric question, because I think that I personally don't believe like in a devil or that kind of I just believe in if there's only really two things, love and the absence of love, which is fear. And once people get in the throes of that, which is our wiring from our survival brain, which is what my book, I'm not a neuro expert. I just studied a lot about how our wiring, fire and wire, our synapses and neural pathways, and how our identity was created through fight and flight, survival brain messages. So I'm saying that's going to be our deepest groove. We're going to fall into that trap really easily because we grew up. I have 10 monster tracks in my book. We grew up in an environment where you had to prove something. You had to be right. You had shame, but then you went, oh no, I have to be okay. People have to take care of me and like me. So we had comparison, we had perfectionism, we had people pleasing, we had button pushing, we had blame, and all of these things. We grew up in an environment raised by well-meaning parents probably, but it is our deepest groove. So, and it's very effective, by the way.
Yeah.
Fear is very effective, and hate is very effective. Right. And so was it planned in the big scheme of things about the media turning? I think we've just gone down slippery slopes, and these are not the media. These people each have names and each have opinions and each have pride, each have an ego, and they stay in the bubble where they keep perpetuating their rightness about how right they are, even as a news person.
Yeah.
And it just feels like that's probably what's happened. And this is a wake-up call for them. They think because they're controlling everything, censoring, shutting down, whatever they're doing or trying to do, it's still in the ballpark of the muck and the mire, because until you actually listen to people and listen to understand, not listen to argue, but really listen to understand. Doesn't mean you have to agree, but until we get to that place, we're going to implode.
We are imploding now. That's what's happening. When I love your story about cutting off the ear, and I hadn't remembered that part of it. If we don't want people to hear, we don't want them to be able to make their own opinions, so we cut their ears off, not literally, but because I don't want to hear it. La 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 la. I don't want to hear your perspective because I have to stay on my point. And I can't be open to having you tell me something that might mean I have to change my mind because I put the stake in the ground 5 generations ago. And this is what I said, and this is what has to be true. And that's what happens when people get stuck in their ego, their fear, their monster.
And the thing is that's happening now, the scariest thing to me is that no one is silencing anyone. They think they are. They're cutting off all these accounts. They're stopping funding to certain people and blah, blah, blah. I don't even know, because I try and staying in my happy place these days. But from what I understand, and the danger there is you're actually strengthening the voice.
Yeah, I think that's very true.
Come out. You should have made this to be a open forum like what we're doing right here. If the press was really out for the truth and not just to be right about their agenda, the high level emotional intelligence, high level consciousness people should be. In fact, I'm really sad when I even see some of my high consciousness people taking huge stands in this battle. It's like, shh, don't do that.
I know. So Bruce is here, and I want you guys. This is so much fun. So Bruce is just an amazing person. He's a coach as well.
Hey.
And he's very high-minded. He's in our conversation, Kim. He's
some of the time and trying to be most of the time.
No, it's all good. And I love your questions, Bruce, and I love your stand for humanity at whatever level humanity is. That's how I see you. So Bruce, just tell us a little bit about you, just so we can get caught up, since you and Kim don't know each other.
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Thanks for being on. No, I'm just joining in, and I'm enjoying hearing what happened for you and your insight. And to be honest with you, I don't know what your background is. I'm really curious about your book, so I went to Amazon right away and looked at the description. But I don't know if you want to talk about what you want to talk about in addition to what you experienced at the Capitol. But I'm just someone. I have, to sum it up as quickly as I can, I have a broad world view. I was very fortunate growing up to have traveled a lot, and I continue traveling throughout my entire life. So I feel like I've been given a great gift to see the United States from other cultures and from afar. It's kind of like when you were raised in a city or a town, and then you leave it, and then you look back at that city or town that you grew up in, and then you get to see,
Right.
different perspectives and
Right.
comparison.
Exactly.
So it's like, yeah, I have my triggers, I have my beliefs, I have all of that, and I think it's human to do so. And you talk about the neurology of all of that. I've been delving into that more and more with friends. I have a friend from high school who has recently appeared out of nowhere, who's like an expert in all that, and in the brain and the functioning, and how some people, when it comes to certain topics, it just like the front cortex just does not engage, and then we go to some other place and we believe this whole, thing. And so that alone is a topic to talk about, because then we get into questions of what is reality? What do we give our attention to? Who do we give our power to? Because of late, and Jody knows this, I'm exhausted by everything that's going on. And if you care and you're trying to follow, I'll speak for myself, I've become exhausted. And then I think about times in my life where I've gone away on a vacation and I wasn't able to turn on my phone for 2 weeks. And I'm like, you know what? I have a feeling that around the 20th, things are going to get pretty nasty. And so do I watch and lose my center, or do I shut it off, and only with the idea that I don't want to give my power away to it?
Right.
So all that comes up. Just those simple little things.
I kind of look at, I have a program called Ignite Vision, and we do a daily, I actually envision myself as an antenna. That, how like the Wi-Fi signal, the icon that shows this is Wi-Fi, right? Those little lines or those certain things, half circles. That's this visual inside myself, the NLP-esque kind of things, where I just go, what am I emitting? Because what I emit is actually going to feed and combine with the emissions of others. And I believe love is actually more powerful. Like, I think the example again of Jesus, the atonement of Jesus, if you want to literally believe in it, hallelujah, do what you want. But even if you look at it just from a principle or a parable, is his one love action covered or was more powerful than I don't know, I don't have the ratio, but if you've read Power versus Force, which is another great book, it's like there's a love energy. And if we could stay there together, even if we differ opinion wise, let's stay in the radiating of love. And every day I'm just like, sending that out, because like I said earlier, we are at the mercy, like we are seeing the results of fear energy that is taking over our world.
Lack mentality.
Lack, right. Well, think about atonement. Break it down. It's at one minute. And if we look at that being what we're really up to, I mean, at whatever level we come together, I just happen to have this in front of me right here. This is the levels of awareness, 7 levels of awareness from animal to mastery. I mean, if we look at that and we can see where the world is it animals, fight or flight? Kim, your monster's under the bed, right? Mass is follow the crowd mentality. Aspiration is desire to be, do, or have more. Individual is express your uniqueness. Discipline is ability to follow your own command. Experience is actions change results. And mastery is no longer controlled by habit. And if we are human beings having or spiritual beings having a human experience, to me, the whole game where I'm playing is to get to mastery. And I'm here to let God, if I say God, Bruce, we've talked about this before too, but if I let God have a human experience, wouldn't I want to let him have the best, him or her, that entity, have the best human experience possible?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to be the lower energy of that, the animal, fight or flight, and react forever. I'd want to say, okay, creator, let's go.
Right.
Let's have a really fun time in this human experience we've got.
Yes.
Right. So then for me, the question around specifically that is then how do we, so I think I know how to do that for me. And yet
How, Bruce? How? Tell me.
Meditation.
Okay. Yeah.
So I go into meditation, and I've, during lockdown, I did something that I wanted to do for a long time, was just take a course in meditation that I knew was available for years. And what I've seen more clearly through that is how we either remember who we truly are, which is, I believe, what Jody just described, that connection to however you want to call it, God, source, universe, creator, or we are dabbling in the material physical world and exterior circumstances then rule us versus being tapped in.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get triggered, and I'm first to admit that I've gotten triggered again and again and again, and then I'll post 3 days later on Facebook, here we are, having a reality show experience, and I bought into it again.
But you know what?
And I got triggered again.
Here's the thing. The trigger is such an important aspect. You have to get the trigger. So don't judge the trigger. The trigger is perfect.
Yeah, I've gotten past the judging in a certain sense, a certain level. The triggering leads to my evolution and development.
Right.
Is the way I look at it.
You got to have it.
I'll be the first to admit my emotional maturity level is in the toilet very often, and then it rises up and it wakes up to the reality of who it really is, and then it goes in the toilet again.
Yeah, but the fact that it's in the toilet is
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm at the toilet, non-toilet stage of my spiritual evolution.
And the thing that Jody did a live, was it yesterday, today? I don't know, about your thought and your heart. Like, that's exactly a skill to actually notice, because when we're at the thought level, we are going to be at the he said, she said, right, wrong, muck, mire.
Sure.
Because we're going to need to prove, we're going to need to have evidence, we're going to need to show. It's that energy. But when you shift to heart and you go and you see the person that you're dealing with through the eyes of love and God, and you go, well, it doesn't matter what they believe. Like, really? Why does that matter? It's really they're me. We're connected. Right. So don't hurt them, because you're hurting you.
Right. Well, if you can see that, my little trick to that for me is asking the question that I've used already with, to share with you before, is like, what will I give my power away to?
That's good.
Because if triggering means that I've given my power away to whatever news clip came on TV 10 minutes ago. Suppose I was out in my garden for the past 10 minutes. Where would my power be given to?
Right.
And in my garden, just to give a crazy example, if I had been meditating or whatever, or using my radar, symbolism, like you just said, to work on that, then what happens as a result? And I think that's where that's the, there are various ways to describe the solution. The solution is eventually through different breakdowns or not, because it doesn't necessarily have to, my personal opinion is we don't necessarily have to have a huge breakdown in order to have aha moments, because people are having, evolution without having war, or without having revolutions, whatever.
No, not war and revolutions. I don't think they have the deepest ahas though without inner pain. See, because you're in inner pain way more than outer world is justifying it, because your thought is creating the pain. Your thoughts are creating your struggle. So it doesn't have to take an outward war, but you got an inward war going constantly. And that's the pain I'm referring to when I say people come to the end of themselves. because we are wired to control our lives. We are wired to think we have to know, we have to fix, we have to do, we have to save. We have righteous indignation now with people on both sides going, we're going to stand and fight for the right and all that. And it's like, that's an inner war, whether there's a shot fired or not. That's that inner turmoil.
Sure. But I'm talking about, but what I think I understand what you said. I might have missed something right at the beginning, but I think that not everybody's in that state of war state.
I agree. Bruce.
Do you feel like everybody's ready at that war store across the world?
You mean to go to outward war?
No. Just like people's general personality are not always at war.
Unless they do some massive inner work, I think most people are. Anxiety levels and medication and drugs and alcohol.
I would say let's be really, really careful saying most and even many, because I think what happens in the sided issues at Christmas, my nephew said, now the Democrats are going to take my guns. All the Democrats are going to take my guns. Yeah, that's just not true.
No, I don't mean outward war. I just mean there's inner turmoil for all our lives way before this.
There are going to be levels of it. For sure, there are levels of it. But I'd like to believe that the work I've been doing, Bruce, the work you've been doing, Kim, the work you've been doing, has given us an opportunity to, I wouldn't call it war so much anymore. I'd call it maybe angst a little bit, or, something other than that. And I'd like to believe that the processes that get me to awareness quicker, it happens really quick now. I can be triggered by something and then go, oh yeah, that's a trigger. Okay, adjust.
But the issues I'm talking about are people hating themselves. Like the trigger is self-hate. Yeah, the trigger is not worthy. It's the messages of the monster. It's the lie that's under the bed. That's the subtitle. Uncovering the lie that drives us. That's where the suffering is. That's where this constant push-pull, fight-flight is constantly running inside someone. Even if they're outwardly, not triggered by politics or, all this, they still have this inner absolutely battle going in themselves with their soul, which is love, and their wiring, which is.
Well, and I'd have to believe that's true because we're still human. We're still here. We're still having the experience. We're still, we're not evolved, right? We're not like on to the next version of life, whatever that might be. So yeah.
And the difference is what Bruce just described, and Bruce, if you didn't even know you said this, but Jody picked up on it, is that your awareness of when you get snagged or triggered, that's 99% of it.
Sure.
Because most people justify their snag. They don't go to, oh crap, I just got snagged. I just got triggered.
Most people even know they got snagged.
Yeah.
No.
Like, now what's for lunch?
Yeah.
That was the technical term was in the toilet thinking. Remember? That was your technical terminology. Toilet on toilet. So good.
I love this conversation, but I do have to go.
I know you do. I told you it was going to be an hour, and
that's okay. So I'm happy. It was great.
Kim, thank you. And we've got a couple other questions on here, and I'm just going to put them up while you're going, Kim, just so you can see. Mary Jo is saying one of the many opportunities for us is to see more than one perspective, prioritize one over the other without making everything about the other perspective wrong, false, stupid, etc. So we can continue to give ourselves permission to rest.
Right. Very good. Yeah, very good.
So Kim, before you go, how can people find you and your book? And Bruce, I know you just did because you found it already. But how could people get a hold of you, Kim, if they wanted more information about
KimFiske.com. Fiske has an E on it, but I think I might have got both URLs. Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay.
And then the book is there. It's Audible too, which is it's me talking. I did my own book, which was really good for me. I have a program called ignitevision.be, and that is my daily. We do a daily rewiring kind of meditation prayer in the mornings with the group that. Whoever, it's all free right now. Well, not my book, but it's $10. I mean, it's no big deal. But the program I'm doing, I really, really want to impact the world. I want to have the voices of this message get louder, or at least to those that will hear, ears to hear, ready to hear. Yeah. So, that's it.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you.
Tony, for everything you're doing. I love you.
Too. I love you, and we'll talk again.
Bruce, goodbye. Nice to meet you.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Bruce, this is great. Thanks for dropping in. This is fun.
Take care.
I will record. Did you get my I'll go. Bye everybody. Bruce and I'll just say goodbye. If you guys have any questions about anything, Bruce, stay on for a second. Ignite Vision is Kim's website that she's doing. She's also at Kim Fiske with an E at the end, kimfiske.com. And follow her. Her book is called The Monster Under the Bed. And I have it on Audible, her talking. It's very fun to hear her since I know her. So take a look at that. And Bruce, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
They can meet me on Instagram at Soul Traveler Bruce.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to put that up here before I go. We're going to do a little banner for you because I always want to promote people who are doing amazing things. So tell me again, Soul
Traveler Bruce.
Soul with one L or two L's?
I think it's one.
Soul Traveler Bruce on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, Instagram. I'm just going to put that up there because this will go even after we're done talking so that people can come back and watch this. So this is Bruce, and he's been on this program before, so you can go back and watch some videos with him as well. So just know that whoever lights your soul on fire, have more conversations with them. And that's my advice for anybody who's watching this live or later. So thanks everybody for being here, and we'll see you again. Bye. Oh, wait, we have one more comment. Really enjoyed this discussion. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Bye, everybody.